Hey, welcome back, my party people. Anderson, your math coach here. Now let's go ahead and go into part 3 here of solving inequalities, where we're going to be looking at multi-step inequalities. So look, if you've gone through our bit on solving equations, where we've had about 8 videos in that series, you want to make sure that you go through all of those videos because multi-step inequalities and multi-step equations are literally the same thing. So you can have a really easy time doing this, and the only exception to this is really going to be understanding that with inequalities, when you have to swap the sides, then you swap the symbol, you flip the symbol. And then if you are multiplying both sides by a negative or dividing both sides by a negative, again, you flip the inequality. So either way, as long as you understand what multi-step equations are like, you got this down. And if you add the rule again with when to flip that inequality symbol, you're good to go. So let's get to work here. I'm going to do about 5 of these problems. I got your back. Then after that, you'll go into the worksheet, go into the speed drills to master this, and then we keep moving forward from there. After this, you'll probably be ready for systems of equations, which is honestly one of my personal favorites. So here we go, my party people. We have negative 5 minus a on the left side, and we have negative 13 plus a plus 4 minus 6. So if you look at the right side of the inequality, if you look at the right side over here, check this out. We have negative 13, a positive 4, and a negative 6. We can combine all of those to give ourselves an easier time. And another thing you might notice is that, we have a variable on both sides. So there's a lot going on here. But remember, this is something that we've already learned. Simplifying, we've learned that. And with variables on both sides, we've learned how to move from one side to the other. So let's go ahead and get the work in, guys. Let's go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to negative 13. I'm going to add the 4 and subtract the 6. So negative 13 plus 4, negative 9. Negative 9 minus 6 is negative 15. So this turns into negative 5 minus a greater than or equal to a minus 15. Okay, so now that we're here, what we're going to do is we're going to try to get the a's on the same side, get the numbers on the other side, and then see what we have to do from there. So what I'll do here, my party people, is I'll subtract this a on both sides just to move it over to that left side because it's going to cancel here. And then negative a minus a, or negative 1 minus 1, negative 2. So we'll have negative 5 minus 2a is greater than or equal to negative 15. And so from here, my party people, what we're going to do now is this. We're going to move that negative 5 over by adding 5 on both sides. And as a tip, remember that if you have a negative on your variable, you're going to have to divide by a negative to get rid of that negative. And so keep that in mind as you work, because you're going to see that this greater than or equal to is going to flip at some point because, again, you have a negative on that variable. But let's get back to work here. This is going to cancel on the left side. So then we have negative 2a greater than or equal to negative 10. Again, understand how to work with negatives here. And then the last step we'll take is divide both sides by that negative 2. But because we are dividing by a negative on both sides, that symbol will flip. The inequality flips. So we have ourselves over here. That cancellation, a is less than or equal to positive 5. So don't get fooled by all of that stuff, all that mumbo jumbo here. So there it is, a is less than or equal to positive 5. Don't get fooled. This is just like solving equations, except you have your little rules again with inequalities. So let's go and take a look at number 2 here. Hey, learn more about how you can get all of my classes, all of my practice problems with video solutions, and all of my study guides, practice tests, flashcard sets. Oh, and by the way, the ability to text me whenever you need help. Go ahead and learn about my ASVAB All-Access Program. Click the link in the description here, or shoot me a text at 567-698-8867 to learn more about it. Again, I'm Coach Anderson. Let's learn more, and let's ace the ASVAB. We got this, my party people. We got this. First things first, I noticed that over here, I got negative 7 minus 7. Let's combine those and give ourselves an easier time. So negative 6x minus 7 is the same thing as subtracting 14. And then from there, we rewrite everything else. Okay. So my next attempt, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try to move all of the variables together on the same side, all the regular old numbers on the other side. So what I'm going to do here is move this 4x over by taking it away. And what we have here is negative 10x. Then minus 14 is greater than or equal to. There's that cancellation. and we have 16. So our next step from here, my party people, is this. We're going to go ahead now and take a look and move that negative 14 over by adding it to both sides. Once we do that, cancels out, and what we're going to have here is negative 10x is greater than or equal to 30. So reminder, we have a negative 10x. We're going to divide the negative 10 on both sides. And remember, when we divide by a negative, that inequality is going to flip. Because again, if you negate both sides, you negate the relationship. So that's what I'll do. Divide both sides by negative 10. That's going to flip. And so it's going to cancel out on the left here. And so we have x is less than or equal to, it flips, negative 3. Booyah right there. And that's where our answer is B. So hopefully you're having a good time right now, because hopefully if you've gone through multi-step equations and two-step equations and you learn those rules, this is, again, very, very manageable. Very, very manageable. So let's go ahead and keep it going here with number 3. So number 3 here, what I notice is that we have our inequality. I also notice that we have a positive 10 plus an 8 right there on the same side of the inequality. We can go ahead and simplify, just like combining like terms. So once I do that, I'm going to rewrite this as 9 minus m is greater than negative 10m, and then 10 plus 8, that's going to be plus 18. Okay, now from here what I'll do is, again, I'm going to move those variables to the same side, the numbers to the same side, and then from there we keep going. So what I'll do here is I'll add 10m to both sides. Once I do that, we're going to have ourselves 9 plus 9m, because negative m plus 10, or negative 1 plus 10, is positive 9. And then we have greater than, this cancels out, and then 18. So from here, my party people, let's go ahead and move that 9 that we have on the left side, move it over to the right by subtracting it on both sides. And remember, we only flip this inequality when we are multiplying or dividing by a negative, not subtracting or adding a negative. So be careful there. So cancels out on the left side, we have ourselves 9m is greater than 9. And from here, we'll divide both sides by 9. And again, we're multiplying, or we're dividing by a positive, not a negative, so no need to flip the symbol. So we're good. There we have m is greater than 9 divided by 9, which is 1. Nice and easy, right there. So let's keep the party going here. I'm going to do a couple more. Again, this isn't too terrible. I hope you don't see this as super terrible, but I want to show you some of these other examples that we can have for sure. So let's take a look at some more complicated ones where we're going to have some distribution involved, just like what we did with multi-step equations. So let's take a look at some of these here. We have 5 minus 5 parentheses 1 plus 2b less than negative 90. Okay, so here we're just going to have to distribute first, and that's okay. Totally fine here. So what I'll do is I'll distribute the negative 5 to both of these terms. Now remember, yeah, you're going to be multiplying by a negative 5, but that's not on both sides. That's just distributing on the same side. No need to flip the symbol here. So here we go. Negative 5, and then we have negative 5 times positive 1. Then we have negative 5 times positive 2b. Negative 10b is less than negative 90. All right, so from here, combine some like terms. I notice that we have negative 5 minus 5, so that'll be negative 10. Negative 10 minus 10b less than negative 90. Next up, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and add 10 to both sides to cancel that out, because I want to get the variable by itself here. So doing that, booyah, that cancels out, and we have negative 90 plus 10, which is negative 80. And now take a look. Are we going to have to flip the inequality or no? We are, because we have a negative 10 on the b, so we're going to divide by negative 10, and dividing by a negative triggers that swap. So there we go. We'll go ahead and divide both sides by negative 10, understanding that that's going to cause the inequality to flip. So cancel out here on the left side, giving you b is greater than positive 8. And there's your answer. B is greater than positive 8. All right, my party people, look, at the end of the day, what I want to make sure you know how to do here is handle these inequalities. You got to know how to handle these. So let's take a look at this one over here, number 53. This will be the last one we go over, and then the rest is going to be up to you, my party people. Unless, actually, let me see really quick. if we have some even more ridiculous problems here. No, these are pretty much the same. Okay, cool. So let's go over to 53. Let's tackle that. And again, after this, what you want to do is, if you're in the course of the program, you're going to have the worksheet that with new problems that you can try on your own. And beyond that, you'll have the speed drills that you can go ahead and tackle to really test your confidence and raise that speed. So if you're struggling with the ASVAB, then it might be time to check out my ASVAB All-Access Program. It has all of my classes and the recordings, all the practice problems that you ever need, and you can text me whenever you need help. So there's much more to it, but feel free to click the link right here in this video or in the description that tells you a lot more about the program, and there's a video explaining how it all works. If you have any questions, I'm Coach Anderson. Find my contact info and reach out to me if you have any. Let's get to it and let's ace the ASVAB. Here we go. I see that we have a -3 right here, and that's going to be distributed to the 7 and to the -8k. We are not multiplying both sides by -3. We're just distributing on one side. Big difference, we are not flipping that symbol. So we have -89 is less than or equal to, -3 times 7 is going to be -21, and then -3 times the -8k right over here, that's going to be a positive 24k. And then we still have that -7k right there. So now we're going to combine like terms. Combine like terms right over here. These two are like terms. We'll combine them. So we have -89 is less than or equal to -21. And then 24k minus 7k is going to be what? That's going to be 17k. And from here, what we're going to do next is we are going to go ahead and add 21 on both sides right here to get rid of that. And now if you notice that at the end here, our variable's on the right side. So if we're going to want it on the left, remember that we're going to have to flip the sides and flip the symbol. Remember that. So keep that in mind. Keep these rules in mind. That way you don't ever have to like pause and be like, what do I do again? What do I do again? Right? We hate that feeling. So here, -89 plus 21. You have a negative plus a positive. So you'll subtract the numbers and keep the sign of the bigger number. So 89 minus 21 is going to be 68. So we have 68 over here, and that'll be a -68. So we have -68 is less than or equal to, cancellation right there, and then we have 17k. And so our last step is going to be the opposite of multiplying by 17. And so dividing both sides by 17, what we'll receive is that cancellation on the right side. And then -68 divided by 17, in case you didn't know, 17 times 2 is 34. 34 times 2 is 68. So what that means is 2 times 2 is 4. The answer would be 4 there, or -4. So -4 is less than or equal to k, right over here. And basically we want the k on the left side. So what we're going to do, if we swap these, we flip the inequality. And so with that said, we'll have k is greater than or equal to -4. Booyah. Right there, and we're all set, my party people. So look, man, at the end of the day, really what this has all been about is really a progression. You want to know how to solve equations, you want to know how to solve inequalities, and after this, after you get your practice in with the worksheet and the next activity, along with those speed drills, then we're going to move forward into solving systems of equations and looking at word problems as well. That's what this has all been building up to. Because how can you expect to be able to do the word problems if you don't know how to set up the equations or inequalities and also actually solve them? So right now we've just been focused on solving them, and then up next after this, we're gonna get focused on setting them up, bringing it all together. That way you can succeed at the end of the day. So again, I am your math coach Anderson, or you can call me Math Man Duran. Either way is fine. I'll see you in the next video, but it's starting up next. Remember, go down to the worksheet, try that out, then proceed forward and go ahead and tackle those speed drills. Those are king, those are there, and they're meant for you to build your confidence. So check it out, have fun, and I'll see you in the next video.